Well, yeah, just with the change in work schedule, I've really had a lot of time to think and meditate and be very, very thankful. And so I think for the sake of understanding, I remember you shared at the beginning of your testimony, just if you were to share everything, it would be 19 years long, 24 hours a day. And I'm unable to do that. And like you were unable to do that. So, but I will begin at the start just so that there's a better understanding of where I came from. And so I was born in Colorado Springs. My mom is from Guam. I think that's a island near the Philippines or something. And my dad is from Memphis, Tennessee. So my mom's Islander, my dad's black, and they met in Colorado Springs, and they had me, and out of wedlock. And I grew up just being raised by my mom, and she was not very stable. She was into drugs and many different men who could provide those drugs. And my dad, throughout this whole time, was in the military. I remember seeing him. I have lots of vivid memories from my childhood. I remember seeing him every now and again, but yeah, just my mom mostly. And I remember it was a very rough neighborhood and lifestyle. I remember running around with no clothes but a diaper. I remember fighting with sticks, very young age. Everything that I'm speaking of now is age 1 to 4. Running around the neighborhood with all the kids and getting into trouble at a little age. I remember one time I have a vivid memory of having ringworm and they were looking at me. But yeah, very rough upbringing. I remember when I was 17 or 18, I went and visited my mom in Colorado Springs. She said that, um, and I'm just gonna give you the whole background because everything is what the Lord has done. When I look hindsight, it is stunning to think of what the Lord has done in my life, and it reminds me it truly has nothing to do with me. So anyway, I went and visited my mom when I was 18, and she told me stories. I was so hungry one time that I climbed up as a baby, climbed up on a coffee table and ate an entire ashtray, and they had to rush me to the hospital and pump out my stomach. Um, being so, and please don't pity me or have sympathy for me.
Oh,
I've heard, I've shared things before, and I get a lot of sympathy, and it's so awkward for some reason. But anyway, um, yeah, and being like such a troublemaker, climbing in the fridge and shattering a bunch of 40-ounce beer bottles, and all stories she's told me, and even things I vaguely remember. A lot of trouble I got in at an extremely young age. And so, long story short, my dad came and visited one time. I was about 4 years old, and he saw it was a really, really bad situation, and he took me with him. And he got a college basketball scholarship. So we're in Colorado right now. He took me with him. He got a college basketball scholarship in Huron, South Dakota. And so we moved to Huron, South Dakota. And so he's a single dad. He's got a job. He's got a college sport. He's got schooling. So he's extremely busy. So he didn't raise me as he raised me to the best of his ability as a single dad. And anyway, I got into a lot of trouble. I will spare all the stories. There's going to be so many stories that pop into my head as I share this. I will try to make this semi brief. I'm not very good at that, but I'm going to do my best.
just give us maybe one or two of special choice to give us an idea, maybe what it was like, and obviously not everything, and then yeah, you could move on from there. Just a
Okay.
suggestion.
So I remember, I remember I was such a troublemaker at this age. I was 4 years old. I was such a troublemaker at school. It was Jefferson Elementary School. I remember being chased around by teachers in this classroom, and I was chucking the desks at them, like running around and using the desks to maneuver around this room until eventually Mr. Rasmussen, the principal, he caught me and he carried me in his arms like the long way, like I was a piece of lumber. He carried me in his arms to the principal's office, and as we were in the hallway, my first grade teacher, Mrs. Blues, was following, and I had pulled down my pants and deposited urine. It was a funny vocabulary. Deposited urine on her. Um, I was just terrible. And I think just really didn't learn much as I grew up from where I grew up. So, and then I remember instances just always fighting, even at an extremely young age, hurting kids for no reason at all, just to do it. Um, and I remember my dad would pick me up from school, and it would be brutal. It would be bad. I would get extremely disciplined. And so, yeah, that was a short time that I stayed with my dad there. And one evening, I was petrified of the dark. I was extremely scared of the dark. And he would leave me home alone often as a 4-year-old boy. And one evening, I have many memories of this, but one evening in particular, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was home alone and I was petrified. I chucked my head under the blankets and I froze up. And then, out of nowhere, I just got up and packed my book bag and some clothes, and I walked through this dark house that I was extremely terrified of and left. I walked in the hallway upstairs, down the steps, through the kitchen, opened up the door, through the garage, and then finally opened up the garage door, and there's an alleyway light. And I just go to the end of the alleyway where I see Main Street of Huron, South Dakota, with all the lights, most lights I can see, and I start walking that way. And before I could even cross the street, I get to the end of the block. Before I could cross the street, this '03 white Ford Expedition pulls up and honks their horn, and I just stand there and they honk again, and I walk up to it, and her name was Jackie Friesen. She was a social services worker. Just incredible, the timing, how that happened. And so she was extremely nice to me, got me into her vehicle, and dropped me off at Barb and Dean's house, my parents who have now adopted me from the age of 5. And ever since then, I had been living with them. Um, it's incredible to think. I don't often think about it, but it's a mercy of God that that even happened.
Mm.
Um, and so, anyways, I grew up with Barb and Dean. They had everything. They had everything. They got the basketball court in the backyard. They got a hot tub. They got all kinds of toys. They got a decent sized house. They spoil me. So I am becoming a spoiled brat, a spoiled troublemaker. And so all these ingredients throughout the years, I just, yeah, I turned into I got adopted at 5.5 years old, by the way. So, so I'm gonna skip a good amount, but I will say my first knowledge or lack of, should I say, of knowledge of God was I got adopted and they put me in a private Catholic school called Holy Trinity Catholic Parish. So
That'd be
that
a great
was,
start.
yeah, that was when I first heard of God. Was that Catholic school? So
Mm.
yeah, I remember mass. I remember lots of things. And so that's what I thought of God. I had heard about Jesus, but he was just a guy the Romans beat and hung on a cross, and he rose again or came out of a tomb. It wasn't too in depth. Um, but anyway, I'll continue. I was a troublemaker there. Just imagine my entire childhood. I cannot explain in words how evil I was. Um, and I really mean that. I was very evil.
Mm.
And I'm oftentimes just reminded of the effect that my sin has had on those around me. Even though I was a really young kid, I was really evil.
Mm.
But yeah, it's easy to say that. Um, but yeah, I was really bad.
Yeah,
And
from what you said, you sound like a quite a little stinker, and you turned into a big stinker, no doubt.
yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, I am still quite the little stinker.
Yeah, you're
Sanctification.
you're a big stinker now.
Yeah.
But you're very good for the church. You sanctify everybody who runs into you.
Ouch. That's funny. But yeah. Um so I am being raised by Barb and Dean, who were very gracious and patient with me. Though they did not know exactly how to raise a young, troubled kid who had lots of things he was battling with, just feeling abandoned, um, unloved because he doesn't know his real parents, and all sorts of things that the psychological examiners could vocalize and share that I cannot. Yeah, I was really struggling. I was in a very dark place even since a young age. And so, though very able to make friends, I was very easy to get along with. I was, well, in a sense, very much a normal kid. Well, in a sense. Just yeah, I was extremely prideful and angry, and it all had been in me since a very young age. And so anyway, growing up, I fought a lot with my brothers, I remember, um, and did a lot of evil things that I won't make mention of with my friends. And at about the age of 10 or 11, I remember I hung out with Alex Nelson a lot. I'd go over to his house, and his aunt and uncle went to the Huron Christian Church, and they asked if we wanted to go on Wednesday evenings. And so I went, and then I went and I found out, wow, they play a lot of video games and have a lot of candy there.
Uh
So, so I started going to these Wednesday night things because I had a couple friends that would go, and I love candy. I would go take $10 and I would blow it on candy there. And we'd
oh.
game, and I'm super competitive, and I would just game. And this is from age about 10, 11. Um, and so, anyways, of course, I played sports, and I was just a very involved kid in different activities. But yeah, 10, 11, I was involved Wednesday evenings only with the church. And I don't remember grasping anything, though we would have sung and would have read some things. I don't remember grasping anything, nor any kind of profession I had or anything at all. Just there for fun. That's it. I would goof around a lot, just hang out really. And then once about age 13, I remember my friend Michael Pfeiffer. He had gotten a car. He's about a year older than me. So in South Dakota, at 14 years old, you can drive legally. So I remember he got his vehicle, an Oldsmobile. I can't remember the word Aurora. I think it was an Aurora, one of the newer. Well, anyway, forget it. Um, yeah, when he got that, we would go to Wednesday evening um, youth nights, but we were more so just goofing off, already beginning our down spiral, and just driving around and doing bad things. And age 13, actually age 12, before I got into high school, so I would have been in eighth grade. In high school, I entered freshman year at 13. Um, yeah, at age 12, that's when I started mixing in with the wrong crowd, started drinking. Well, really, age 12 to 13, right in there. Started drinking, getting in with the wrong crowd, experimenting with different pharmaceuticals, smoking, um, and that was the beginning of me just living for fun. I just wanted to have fun. I wanted people to know me for fun. I wanted to fit in with the fun crowd, and the fun crowd to me was juniors and seniors at that age of 13. So I did. I fit in very well with them. Um, though the influence they had on me was not good, and I cannot put any blame on them. But I just had zero wisdom and zero guidance. And my parents would try and discipline me, and I was extremely prideful and hard headed. I wouldn't hear a word of it, and I would do whatever I wanted. Basically, thinking in my head, if you can't physically stop me, you're not going to stop me. And so, anyways, I grew up that way. Um, if you could not physically stop me, you will not stop me. So I became a very violent person, very brute, very haughty, and not good to people. Not good to people at all. Even though there were instances you could say, oh, well, you weren't that bad. That is true. But I was not a very good kid whatsoever. And so I remember at 18 years old, actually 17, because that's when I graduated, um, I'm kicking it with my friends, and we're probably chopping it up in the commons area or something in high school and talking about what we're going to do after high school. And I got some friends, oh, I'm going to go to school to become a lawyer. I'm going to go to school to become a doctor. I'm going to go to school for agriculture. I'm going to go for, I don't know, biochemistry. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for that. And then, Tyrone, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'm going to do what I am doing. I'm going to keep selling drugs. I'm going to make money that way. And I'm just going to live life to the fullest. That's what I'm known for. That's what I do. Um, yeah, I do want to throw in just to kind of get a perspective. At age 15, I was at a party once, and just because parties are mentioned and things, but I kind of want to put a little bit of a perspective in there. South Dakota gets kind of this rapper name that it's like, oh yeah, well, it's just, they can't be that bad. It's the middle of nowhere. Yeah, they party and whatnot. But I was at this party once, and I was talking to this guy's girl that he brought, and I'm 15, and these are all older people. Um, but I'm talking to this guy's girl that he brought on the love seat. I'm talking to her, and we're spending time. I'm drinking, she's drinking, and this guy must have seen or caught wind or something, and he got extremely upset or angry, whatever. Obviously, envy and jealousy, all kinds of things brewing in an environment like that. And anyways, he went and told the host, Zach Stahl, I remember, and Zach is sloppy, intoxicated, and so he decides, well, I'm gonna grab my shotgun. I'm gonna go talk to him. So he goes, grabs his shotgun, goes in the middle of this party with his shotgun in his hand and his drink in the other. He says, turn the music down. And this living room is full of people. I mean, full. And the music is blasting. He says, turn the music down. And I remember this just because it was pretty sobering. Um, um, and I laughed as almost a defense mechanism. I don't know why I giggled there, but he cocks it with one hand and he starts talking. He says, I heard you've been talking. I'm going to spare words. But I'm just sitting there, and I'm pretty sure I had a lot of liquid courage in me. I'm like, you're tripping. What are you talking about? I'm just sitting here chilling. And yeah, everyone was just sitting there watching it. And he's got this thing pointed at me from about 3 feet away. Um, and then Tevin Nedved, I remember, came out of the kitchen, and he's like almost antagonizing in a sense. But he was Tevin Nedved. I grew up doing a lot of dirt with him. He came out of the kitchen, and he was like, Zach, put that thing away. You're not going to use it. Like, we're here to party and whatnot. Just put it away. Anyways, he did end up putting it away. And I was so dumb. I didn't even think twice about what just happened. And I just hung out and just still kicked it with that girl. And I talked to some of the guys after. I'm like, yeah, he was tripping. I mean, that was the environments we hung out in.
Hmm.
Just lots of demonic energy, I guess you could say. Very, very bad. Um, And anyways, to move on to 18, yeah, I say I'm just gonna keep selling drugs and doing what I do. You know me, I'm Tyrone, and so that's what I did. Um, very capable of going to school and doing something, but instead I am full of pride and I'm gonna do things my way. I want to do things my way, and so that's what I did, and that ended up putting me in jail quite a few times. Getting caught, whether I was traveling with with pickups, shipments. I wouldn't say shipments. That's pretty large sounding. But
Illegal substances, pretty
there
much.
you go. Yeah. Whether getting caught traveling state lines with that or
Unknown caller. One moment.
you're
There
okay.
you go. Sorry about that.
You're all right. That was mainly what I would get picked up for, or just extremely intoxicated behind the wheel or something like that. Um, and I would. There's been so many times the Lord has had mercy on me, and I've gotten out of terrible situations. I'll tell you one. It was my 21st birthday, and I cannot believe the effect I've had on people just thinking about the story. But it was my 21st birthday, and I'm a wild guy. I'm a wild guy. And I'm thinking, I'm going to go to Sioux Falls. I'm going to go kick it with my friends. We're going to get crazy. We're going to go crazy. It's my birthday. I'm going to blow a bag. I'm going to blow money. And we're going to kick it. And I would always blow my money. I was horrible with money because I was very flashy, showy, and wanted to show people how much money I had. And so we were going to Sioux Falls. I remember my girlfriend at the time. She said, go with Angelique so that she can drive. So Angelique was supposed to be driving for me because my girlfriend knew how bad I could get. But I didn't. I didn't let Angelique drive. I was. It was basically a party on our way to Sioux Falls, which is a 2-hour drive from here on. And I was at the wheel. I was on pills. I was drinking. I was smoking. Uppers, downers, just the usual, but even more for my birthday. And this is about 2 in the afternoon. And anyway, we're getting into we're getting into Sioux Falls, and I'm almost gonna miss my exit, and so I quickly try and get into my exit, and I hit a minivan,
Hmm.
and I like kind of ramped the guardrail a little bit, and anyway, thank the Lord, everyone was okay, and I got out, and I'm gone. I remember this, and I'm thankful I do. And I get out and I go look at who's in the van, and I go on the passenger side, and she rolls her window down, and I say, "Is everyone okay?" And it's a mother by herself with about 8 or 9 kids. I remember seeing that, and it hit me. I was like, "Whoa, what what am I doing?" And those
Hmm.
kids looked terrified. They looked like they saw something horrific.
And she's probably pretty mad with you,
She
honestly.
was not. She was very okay. She just looked.
Wow, that is crazy. A mother with her kids all terrified. She wasn't mad with you.
What she
Wow.
seemed like was a Christian. She seemed
Hmm.
like like I don't even know how to explain it. She seemed just completely at like obviously a little shocked, but very calm, very peaceable. It
Hmm.
seemed like a
Yeah.
whole person I'd never even interacted with. And anyways, I ended up getting into the passenger seat. This is why I'm telling this story. I ended up getting into the passenger seat. Now Angelique got into the driver's seat because that was supposed to be what she was there for. But my pride and my control wouldn't let that happen. And she gets in the driver's seat. The hypo, sheriff, police come, asking all kinds of questions. They think Angelique's the driver, so they're talking to her. And I call up my friends like Dion, Deontay, all these, all my homies, and I'm like, hey, come here. We just got into a bad accident. I got all this on me. I got all this, all these. drugs and things on me. Come here now. There's hypo. There's a bunch of people here. I'm not trying to get busted with this. They come and they're there in like 2 minutes. They got there fast. And right in front of all of these officers and everybody, all these witnesses, tow truck guy, there were so many people there. I crack open my fuse box in my engine, grab the pack of pills, and hand it to them all slyly, I'm thinking anyway. I go into the center console and grab the whole package of Bud, and I hand it to him. And I go in the back and grab the few bottles of liquor I had, hand it to them, and they're just putting them in their waistband, so it's not like it's hidden or anything. It's very obvious, and they just walk away. And the police end up giving Angelique a court date and a ticket
Poor
because she was
gal.
yeah. And then the next day, that day I got awful. I basically said, "Oh man, look what happened on my birthday. Poor me. I'm gonna blow money and everything's about me. Self-centered. Just more of the reason to be more self-centered that day." And anyway, the next day I remember waking up in Huron and I was like, "How did I even get here?" And then I was like, "Oh, I don't have a vehicle." I'm just remembering things. And then a few hours later, I get a call from the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office or something, and that's Sioux Falls. And they're like, tell Angelique to just rip up her ticket. We have many witnesses saying that she was not the one who got out of the driver's seat. It was you. And so, long story short, she didn't have to go to court. I did. And all I got was careless driving because they didn't end up questioning me. They didn't end up anything because if they would have realized I was very gone, very intoxicated, and I would have gotten much trouble, which
Mm.
is very just. But it's like the Lord spared me from all these things that could have just destroyed my record and destroyed any chance of me being even free. And that has happened many times, many times. I I'm just yeah, I don't know. And anyway, I'll just I'll get to my
The
main
good part.
yeah. Um I will share one more story of just the Lord sparing me, even though there's a lot. Um I was once again high headed and thinking I'm really doing something when I'm not, and I was driving around making drop offs, and I'm just very not sober. And anyway, I I was so gone that I remember someone at the Lewis parking lot said I like kind of not ramped but drove over this curb thing with like trees in the center of it, and then like kind of decently quick. And then from there I was driving to my friend at the time, Tristan's house. He had the party house. So we were gonna start gathering some things to do a bunch of evil. And on my way there, because I ramped that curb, my tire is perpendicular with the other tire. My front right tire was not straight. And
One
so I'm
moment.
dragging down the road, jamming out, bumping music on drugs heavy to the point I don't even realize it. And my tire is screeching down the road. And the cops, someone must have called, or the cops probably heard it all the way from the station. I wouldn't doubt it, but I'm exaggerating. Anyways, I pull up in front of my friend's house. I drive into his driveway, drive onto the lawn, and almost hit his neighbor's house, and make gigantic mud ruts in the lawn because of the SUV I was driving. Um, the police are behind me. I get out of. I have no idea. I'm oblivious. Their lights aren't on or anything, or maybe they were. I have no idea. I I remember this very vaguely. I everything's normal to me. Put in park, get out, and I see police right when I open the door and stand out of my vehicle. I see two police vehicles with their lights on and the officers approaching me, and I'm like, whoa, just all zombified and stupid. And I'm like, whoa. And they basically end up searching my vehicle. They find the drugs that are with me, felony charges, all kinds of felony charges, the alcohol on the floorboard, everything. And anyways, I went to court for this, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm in trouble. I'm doomed. And I wasn't. I don't. I got out of jail the next day. I don't remember how. I think maybe bond or bail. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, I got out of jail. But then when I actually started going to court, my lawyer Ron Valesky got me out of this whole thing. I should be put away. Um, and oftentimes I should be. And even the
Hmm.
times I was put away, I got spared. But anyway,
Wow.
Are bond and
um,
bail different things?
what's that?
Are bond and bail different things?
I'm not sure. I don't. I don't think they are. I think they're the same thing. I could be mistaken though, sis.
Hmm.
My memory ain't that sharp. Just talking about that stuff, all I remember is just stories. And anyways, I remember in court, he had the officer up on the stand, my lawyer, and he was asking him questions. He was like, "So basically, I'm just." He asked a line of questions, and then he got to this. So when you saw Tyrone, you arrested him. It's like, yes, I did. You detained him. Yes, I did. He's like, okay, and then you ended up searching his vehicle. Yes, I did. And what probable cause did you have to search his vehicle? And then he said, well, because of the alcohol on the floorboard. And because you could see it, because my door's open, I had alcohol on the floorboard of my SUV on the passenger side. And he's like, okay. And so, did you end up checking Tyrone's driver's license before you made that search? No, I didn't. So you didn't know how old Tyrone was before making that search? No, I did not. They said, so on the probable cause of alcohol on the floorboard in a case, you made the action, I guess, to search his vehicle. Yes, I did. But you did not know if Tyrone was of legal age or not. No, I didn't. Literally, this line of questioning dismissed it, everything, because he didn't have
But
reasonable
but
cause to search my vehicle.
but he did search it, and facts are facts. Even if he gets a little bit of a fine or something, still facts are facts. But
Yeah, yeah, Ben. Yeah, he found a lot. A lot went to evidence, but because he began illegally, not by the law, it ended up basically being evidence that could not be used against me.
well, I'm glad the Lord did what He did. But at the same time, that is a little scary for the legal system.
Yeah, it is. Hindsight, it is. It is very scary. And at that time, I was just thinking, "Oh wow, thanks, Ron." And I went back to doing what I was doing.
Hmm.
And so anyway, I can't remember what age I was when that happened. But I'll get to this point. 26 years old. My friend Cameron Hammer, he's known me since a childhood. He knows everything about me. Everything. Well, not everything, but he knows a lot about me. The Lord knows everything. But Cam, I remember he lived in Las Vegas for a minute and he said he wanted to come back to live in South Dakota just to get his mind straight. And I said, yeah, you can stay with me. And anyway, he stayed with me and it was cool. I mean, he's my guy. He's kicking it with me. And I was in a relationship at the time. And anyways, we'd go out to bars, we'd do all kinds of stuff. I got this crazy fast, fancy, all the bells and whistles sports car. Just yeah, I'm living it up. I got whatever I want. I'm just Mr. Cool Guy Tyrone. And anyway, I didn't treat him very well. I remember one time we were leaving a bar and there were some people in my vehicle in my scat pack and wow, I've never seen a car like this and whatnot. It's Cam, it's Jason, it's a couple girls and mind you, I'm in a relationship. I was terrible. This is why I'm really ashamed. You know, Ezekiel 36, it says, Then you will remember your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe, which means be disgusted with.
Hmm.
You shall loathe yourselves for your sins and for your abominations. Yeah, I was not good. I was not a good guy at all. And so, anyways, Cam was a really good friend to me. But, yeah, anyway, I'm showing off for these people from the bar because they've never seen a car like this and they've never gone fast and whatever. And Cam's like, let me out of here. I don't want to be in here anymore. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Pull over. They let him out. And I just skirt off. And, yeah, that was the last time we had, well, I don't want to say last time we ever had communication, but that really put a dent in our relationship. And I remember had to have been about 8 months later. I'm 26 years old, and I'm thinking, man, life is empty. I'm not getting any joy out of anything I thought that would fulfill me anymore. And all this stuff is worthless, and I don't know where all this stuff's coming from. I've had bad instances in life where I had these thoughts before, but they weren't like this. And I was just really upset about what I've done with my life and the things I've done to people. And I'm at work. I'm on night shift. I'm on night shift here. I'm on night shift now. I'm on night shift in South Dakota. And I'm like, man, I need to get a hold of Cameron. I haven't talked to him or reached out to him in a long time. And so I tried to get a hold of him and he didn't answer. And I thought, well, I probably won't hear from him again. And then a couple hours later, maybe an hour later, he calls me back, which is so unlike Cam. And I remember seeing his name on my phone and I was like, wow. And I answered, and we're catching up and we're chopping it up. We're just basically chopping it up just means catching back up, just speaking to each other again.
Thank you
And
for translating that into English.
sorry. And anyway, this phone call ended up being like 4 hours long. And while I'm on night shift at work, and mind you, work is very laid back, like it is now. And anyways, after about the first hour of talking, hour and a half of talking, just catching up and talking about things in life, I say, Cam, I'm really sorry for how I treated you. And he comes in to save face right away. Oh no, you're good, Tyrone. It's all good. I'm like, no, Cam, I really mean it. I have not been good towards you, and you've given me every reason to be a good friend to you. Cam, you've been there for me in dark times, and I have not been good to you at all. And yeah, yeah, it's okay, Tyrone. I'm not that good either. Yeah, it's all right. And I'm just like, no, listen to me, Cam. I'm serious right now. And I'm just telling him these things and just how I've treated them. And then I go into how I've treated other people all my life and just how evil and inconsiderate and self centered I've been all my life. And I'm 26 years old telling this on the phone to Cam. And he's going, yeah, me too. Yeah. And I'm like, Cam, you're not getting it. And
You
I,
sound like you were under conviction from the Holy
yeah,
Spirit. That does not sound like the Tyrone I heard about in those other stories. Sounds like somebody who's being worked on.
yeah, exactly. Amen. Amen. Yeah, and those other stories, I didn't care. Sin was was everything. Didn't bat an eye at it. But yeah, Craig said that to me when I was telling him this one evening. He said, sounds like the Spirit was convicting you, brother. And I was like, yeah, you could definitely say that, because this was not normal. It's not the Tyrone that everyone looked up to and thought was cool and he's a tough guy. No, this was, I'm nothing, and I'm not that guy. And I've made myself out to look like that guy, and how dumb that was. And anyways, I was just telling him how evil I'd been to people, and it started going into details. We started going into stories. He was sharing stories with me. He was just kind of like just going along with everything. And anyways, yeah, we went into very vivid details about things in life that we've done that have not been good. And I just remember towards the end of it, I'm like, Cam, if I were to die tonight, I'm going to hell. And he was like, yeah, yeah, me too. And I'm like, no, you're not getting it, Cameron. I'm like, I have not been good, and I know I'm going to hell. And he's just like, yeah, 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 I haven't been good either, and I think I'll go to hell too. Just ridiculous thinking back. And I didn't even know any of this stuff. I don't know where this stuff is coming from. And I remember just feeling terrible. Like at other times when I had considered taking my life, except like I wasn't considering taking my life. I was just like, man, my life has been pointless. There's been nothing worth anything in my life at all. I don't know what I've done with it. Basically, like I was in judgment right there, just thinking nothing good has come out of this life, all 26 years. And, anyways, in the midst of all this talking and thinking with Cam, I don't know what happened. I have no clue. It was like something hit me that just it woke me up. I don't know what happened. And I always explain it like a light switch turned on. And all this hurt and pain and grief and burden and sorrow, it went away and I felt good. I felt good. And I said, "Yo, Cam." And he said, "What's up?" I said, "I think I'm going to heaven."
What?
And he said, "What did he say?" I think he said, "What are you talking about, Tyrone?" And, and I said, "Listen, I know it." I said, "Listen," I said it again. I said, "I think I'm going to heaven." And he could probably tell I'm cheesing through the phone all of a sudden. He probably thinks I'm on drugs right now. He probably thinks I'm like just lost. Like he's like, "Yo, this guy is crazy. I don't know what's going on with Tyrone." Anyway, I'm like, "I think I'm going to heaven again." And he's like, "Tyrone, you're tripping." And I'm like, "Listen, I know it sounds crazy, but Jesus Christ died for my sins." And he's like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "But what does that have to do with you going to heaven?" Basically, he's like, I don't." He's basically just saying I sound crazy. I remember him saying verbatim. I just kept saying the same thing over and over again, just in a different way, because I didn't know anything. I knew nothing. I don't know. I probably knew vaguely things just from past things that popped up in my life, and I just knew bare minimum that Jesus Christ died for my sins and my guilt, my shame. I did not know this at that time, but all this pain and sorrow and grief over my life was gone, and Christ bore it. And anyways, I was trying to explain that to him. That listen, I remember saying this. Listen, I just told you everything. Cam, you know me. I remember saying that. Cam, you know me. Like, I I am bad. I'm not going to heaven because of anything I did. I'm going to heaven because Jesus Christ died for my sins. Like, he took my place. He died for me. I remember I kept saying it like that, and I couldn't think of any other way to say it. And I just kept telling him, like, Cam, you know me. Like, Cam, you know me. You know me. I I'm not going to heaven because God's gonna say, "Oh, you're good." Cam, you know me. I'm not good. Cam, I'm trying to tell him. And I remember him saying this verbatim. This is what I was gonna say. He said, "Aren't you being a little presumptuous, Tyrone? I mean, you have a whole life to live." And I just told him, I'm like, Cam, I don't know what to say. Like, all I know is Jesus Christ died for my sins. That's all I know. Like, and I'm going to heaven because of what Jesus did, not because of what I did. I don't know what to say to you. Like, that's all I got, Cam. I'm trying to tell you. Like, and I'm telling him, I'm like, Cam, I'm not. Do you remember just 20, 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago? I was just like breaking down. Like, Cam, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm all right. I'm good. And I'm like jumping around. Like, I'm so happy. I'm not even kidding. Like, and I'm telling him this. I'm like, I'm at work and I'm like being a goofball right now, Cam. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Cam, I'm trying to explain it to you the best I can, but I'm going to heaven. And anyway, to no avail. He did not. He did not get it, and probably I didn't do much good because I got extremely excited and zealous on the phone. The rest of the 4 hour combo was basically that. The first 2.5, 3 hours was me basically talking with Cam and then just grieving over my life to him, and then the last hour 15 or so was just
Was
me
you
trying to.
jumping up and down? Say.
Yeah, jumping up and down. Really, I remember standing outside of this big garage door at Poet where I worked, and I was literally like, I was so happy. I remember the light. I remember everything. I was so happy. I don't know what it was. Well, I do know what it was, but I didn't know exactly what it was in that moment. I was so happy.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, the phone call ended. He didn't get it. He didn't. It just no avail, and I just basically said, "Well, Cam, hopefully I talk to you later," and I'm just a different Tyrone already. I don't talk like that. And just thinking, wow. And then after that, I didn't find joy. I didn't The reason I stopped smoking, stopped drinking, stopped cussing, stopped all this wasn't because all of a sudden I was this good guy. I didn't find pleasure or satisfaction in it anymore, and so I just didn't do it. And I remember I went home. I remember thinking at work, I'm like, man, how am I gonna tell people about this? Like, I feel like a new person. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna tell people like I
But you
changed.
knew you had to tell people.
Knew I had to tell people. I was like, how am I going to tell Sammy? How am I going to talk to my parents? Like, I got to talk to them. How am I going to do this? And Sammy was the girl I was in a relationship at this time. And anyway, um, yeah, I remember just sharing with them, and just obviously life changed, and I'm sure they seen it. I remember my parents, they thought I was just turning over a new leaf. Like I had tried in the past. I
Do
tried to
they
clean
still think
myself
that?
up. What's that?
Do they still think that?
I am not. I don't think they do. I talked to them, and I don't think they think I've turned over a new leaf, but I'm not sure they understand the real change that has happened.
Hmm.
But I try and explain things when I can, when the Lord presents an opportunity. But uh, I remember trying to clean up my life all throughout that mess from a young age all the way up to 26, trying to reform my life, clean it up, do better, follow God, know who God is, thinking I know about God, trying to do good things, put away all this sin, and I'd fall flat on my face right back into it every single time, and none of it worked. I would never be able to do any better than what I did before, and always worse, until finally I realized who Christ was that night. And I haven't been the same ever since. And things have been incredibly just, I am extremely thankful. And just with the recent nights, um, Well, let me go back. We had a guest bedroom, Sammy and I, and the Lord has worked on me all throughout my since my conversion, and things have changed dramatically even since then. But when I was still in a relationship with Sammy, we had a townhome together, and we had a guest room, and I instantly changed my guest room into a library. Anybody who knew me from high school, even people who knew me out of high school, Tyrone's not having no library. He's not getting any books. He's not doing any of that stuff. Are you kidding me? And not to say like, oh, here's evidence of his conversion, but like things changed. I started buying Bibles and reading books and watching sermons, and I don't even. I had an Xbox group with a bunch of people, just shy of 40 people who I met on Xbox and through group post and sharing, basically evangelizing on Xbox in this group chat, all to study the Bible. We would spend hours reading the word, hours upon hours, all through the night, all through the day. I've made good, dear friends through that, brethren I still speak to. Um, yeah, it has been life changing, the gospel. And so, anyways, uh, let me think of what I was gonna say. I don't remember what I was gonna say. Um, but anyways, I say that all throughout the testimony of the Lord, just even when I was lost, everything the Lord has done in my life, I am always brought to a very low place when I really meditate on things. And I think of Genesis 32:10, where Jacob says the words, I am unworthy of all the truths. Oops. Let me just actually read it, and this will not take long for me to find it. Genesis 32:10. He says, I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. And going back to Ezekiel 36:10, or not 10, I'm sorry, 36 31. I mean, just remembering my evil ways and my doings that were not good, I am disgusted with my past self, and I do realize there is nothing good in me outside from Christ. And I am so glad to be known by God and what he's done, and that he would ever consider me. I don't have any reason for him to consider me or have mercy on me. um, it's very humbling, and I'm very thankful that he brings me into seasons where I can see that more and more clearly, because without that I can become very self-righteous and prideful. And so, yeah, I'm very glad that God is good and he is patient and that he does save sinners.